Hey, what's up you guys? This is Louis and welcome to the channel. Today we have an exciting topic, which is 5 financial mistakes to avoid during your 20s. But before we get into this topic, make sure to subscribe, share, and hit the like button. By doing this, you will help us push this video to a larger audience that may find it interesting. Now that you have done that, let's begin with the first financial mistake I see many people make in their 20s. The first financial mistake I see many people do in their 20s is accumulating a lot of credit card debt. As soon as you reach your 20s, or even before that, you'll begin to build your credit and financial institutions will begin to bombard you with credit card offers, left and right. I know about that. Now, being inexperienced with how credit works and wanting to buy every single possible gadget out there, you'll be tempted to just go on shopping sprees. Many times buying a lot of things that seriously you do not need. And this can be the beginning of the end of a good credit score and a debt-free life. As a rule of thumb, I only use credit when I can pay it back at the end of that billing cycle. This is very important because lately, credit card interest rates are sky high. According to Credit Karma, the average credit card rate in the United States is currently 15.09%. This is the highest it has been since 1994. One thing that you need to take into account is that if you are in the early stages of building your credit, your APR can be anything from 16.99 to 24 or more. You may not know it, but let's see what a 25% APR looks like when buying something and paying it slowly over time. For this example, we will take an iPhone 11 Pro. If the iPhone costs $1,249 without taxes and you decide to pay it in $100 a month installments, it will take you 1 year and 3 months to pay it. The total amount that you will end up paying will be $1,461.92, which means you will end up paying $212.92 in interest alone. That interest would account for about 15% the total cost of the phone. This is just a small example of how bad having accumulating credit card debt can be, especially when you're young and your APR is high and maybe your sources of income are not as stable as you want them to be. Remember, with good credit, many doors and opportunities to save money will open in the long run. On the other hand, having bad credit can potentially create roadblocks in obtaining good opportunities, and you will have to pay more for it. The second financial mistake people make in their 20s is leasing or buying a car that they cannot afford. Many young people will land their first job after high school and immediately they will go and get a car that is outrageously expensive. I have seen this scenario play over and over again. They are working minimum or barely minimum wage and they go to the dealership and buy an extremely expensive car. Most of the time, a really expensive used car like a BMW or a Mercedes. And I have nothing against those cars. The joy of buying these cars can and will last very little, especially when they need to take on their maintenance. I always say, buy a car that fits 99% of your missions and not the 1%. You can always rent that 1%. Let someone else take care of that. Cars are depreciating assets, which means they lose value as they get older. To give you an idea, as soon as you drive your beautiful new car out of the dealer, you are losing money. Yes, that's right. Cars are tools, especially in your 20s. They take you from point A to point B to point C, so treat them as such. This rule in essence tells you to avoid spending more than 10% of your annual salary on a car or a car payment. This means that if you're earning $60,000 a year, your car allowance for a car a year is $6,000, which means that you should buy a car that doesn't pay more than $500 a month. Same thing applies if you earn $45,000. Your yearly allowance is $4,500. This means that you shouldn't pay more than $350. If you ask yourself, can I even get a car with this rule if I earn $30,000? And the answer is yes. Just look at this example. You can buy a brand new Chevy Spark with 0% down for about $250 a month. Disclaimer, I'm not getting paid by Chevy to do this video. I just checked around for a brand new car that could fit a person who has this budget and wanted to use this rule. I actually have a family member that actually bought one, and it is a nice car compared to what you can get for $3,000 used. The third financial mistake to avoid in your 20s is not saving or creating an emergency day fund. According to a survey by CNBC, only 44% of millennials have enough money saved to cover their expenses for 3 months. So, what about the other 56%? That's a question that I asked myself. From that 56%, 36% said they don't have anything set aside for emergency. And the other 20% said that they had some sort of savings, but not quite to last 3 months. Now, do you have an emergency day fund? If the answer is no, then this means that it's time for you to take charge of your finances and start creating good saving habits and begin to work towards creating an emergency day fund. And it can be as simple as this. Yep. This takes us to the fourth financial mistake to avoid in your 20s. And this is not saving for property. And this can be a single family, a multifamily, or even a condo. And this can help you in the long run. And you might not even need to, get a lot of money for a down payment because there's a lot of options. So make sure to talk to your loan broker about the different financing options that they have. Now, you can also check down our video in the description on how we bought a house with less than $10,000. And if we did it, I know that you can do it too. There are many benefits to owning a property, including equity, taxes, just to name a few. And those can come in handy, especially when you start to make more money and you start to go up in the tax bracket. Start saving for your future property now. And now to the last financial mistake people make in their 20s. And this is having huge amounts of student loan debt. So many people go to college and amass an outrageous amount of school debt, which is crazy to me because getting in so much debt means that it will set you back for some time in life. According to Forbes, Americans are drowning in $1.5 trillion in student loan debt. There are more than 45 million people in student loan debt, and all the debt is the second highest in consumer debt, only behind mortgage debt. As a fact, according to debt.org, $2,858 of student debt are accrued every single second. So if we wait 2 seconds, now there is $5,716 added to that big amount of student debt. That's crazy. If you currently have student loan debt, make sure to create a plan and tackle it as soon as possible. Don't be like some people.
I have about $115,000 in student loan debt. I'll just keep giving them $10 a month. And I'm just like, whatever.
Imagine you borrow $50,000 for your education and you had an interest rate of 5.95 and you plan to pay it over a period of 10 years. Let's take this into account and let's see what it looks like. If you pay the same loan in half the time, this is what it will look like. This means that by paying more, you will save more on interest. If you have loans, make sure you find out all the details about them in order to make an effective payment plan. And these are the 5 most common financial mistakes I see people make in their 20s time and time again. I hope you liked this video and I hope it was useful and it had some value. As I said before, make sure to like and subscribe and share with your friend. See you next time.